I just think posture is important. That's all.
I agree.
It's
that's
hello.
very important.
Hi, welcome back. I'm Jeff Gerstmann. E3 2019 is over, but we're still here. I'm joined by some additional guests here. Let's meet them now. Rich Gallup is here.
Hi, good to be back.
How
Hello.
you doing?
Good, man.
How are things?
This is my first E3 in like 5 or 6 years, and things have changed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very different show, right?
It's empty.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
Mike Bithell's here.
Hello.
Of Bithell Games.
Yeah, the incredibly humbly titled game company that I run. Yeah, no, it's been good. It's been good E3.
Awesome.
For us. Yeah, it's been fun.
Sean Krankel down there at the end. A little after party.
Yes,
Yeah.
It's been a long week because showing a game about drinking, I have to just keep drinking all the time.
Like you kind of have to live the gimmick on that, right?
That's it,
Like you
yeah.
gotta make sure
That's
that
how you make art, right?
Yeah.
Gotta be a pro.
Everyone sees you like, okay,
If
he's serious about making this game.
It's
They're not
gonna
messing
splash
around.
on your leg if I puke. I'm sorry.
It's, you know what, like, honestly, it wouldn't be the worst thing that's ever happened to me at E3, so that's fine.
This year.
This year.
At some point, relatively early on in Giant Bomb's existence, we had picked up a bit of a reputation as being drinkers, I guess I would say.
Professionals.
And we showed up for an appointment at a publisher to see a game, and it was like 11 a.m. Not at E3, like we drove a car to their office, and the guy was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I don't have any beers for you guys." And it was this early sign of just like, "Oh, oh man,
Yeah,
we're doing it right."
Probably bad if that's the impression we're giving off. I might have to rethink
Ratchet
some
it
parts
up.
of this. Yeah, I guess like you go one of
Ratchet
two
it up.
ways, right?
Are you a
Either
rock
just
star
all
or
right,
not?
leaning into it. I chose to back off.
It's fair.
Proud of you.
Which it just made more sense at the time. So Rich Gallup, you're here you're here showing. What are you doing?
I'm pitching.
What are you doing at E3?
Business. Doing
Oh,
business.
you're doing business. So you're part of like the shadow E3 again.
For sure.
Yeah.
I was on the show floor like twice, and I played Zelda for a minute or two, and then then I disappeared off to an Airbnb to pitch, 30 or plus pitch sessions. It was for showing a game that you won't get to hear about for years, and
Unless no one picks it up, and
So
then
tell
no one will ever hear about it.
Tell us the whole
go on.
thing. Pitch it to us. The audience will decide,
Maybe someone's out there's got the
Maybe someone's out there.
yeah, maybe they do.
This is it.
No, but
We got TV. We'll put a PowerPoint up there. I mean,
sweet.
yeah.
I'd plug Underworld Ascendant, which we're
Yeah.
getting out on console soon. But I've been at Other Side Entertainment for 6 months now, and it's really fun being back making what I call real games after being on mobile free to play, which are also real games. But I'm happy to be on this side again.
Yeah.
Longer form work, etc. And it's been a fun 6 months meeting a new team, working with them, and I've been dual producing both, trying to turn Underworld Ascendant around, and we've done a really good job of it. Like, it's a solid game. We're gonna have a big update coming out within the next couple of weeks that I think really will finally make it to where it could have and should have been for launch with time, etc. And then also making this pitch for the other reason I was hired, which was to make this game with a small team. It's been fun prototyping, and it's been fun doing the business thing. Like, I haven't done this in a long time.
Yeah.
And last time I did it was when I was at 38 Studios. And they brought me to E3 to do pitches, but that's because, oh, you worked at GameSpot. You know how you can be vibrant.
You can smile for a living.
Get out there. Just get out there. And I didn't even have I didn't feel like I had much ownership of the stuff I was pitching. I was on a game with like 200 people, and I was just being their mouthpiece. And this is a thing, and prototyping just like a handful of people, and I'm working with them every day, and it's been a lot more rewarding, and hanging out with folks like Paul Neurath and Warren Spector is always pretty rad.
Yeah.
Stories for
Not
days.
bad.
Yeah.
Dinner, is it?
Good crew. They just have so much knowledge, and it's we'll be like, this is a good idea. Well, we did that 20 years ago, and it is a good idea.
See, it's funny when I tell stories like that around the office, no one wants to listen. I don't know, 15 years ago, we did a show every Thursday.
That wasn't a good idea.
Yeah, it turns out.
Nope.
But, it's not going to stop anyone. No one. Yeah. My point being, no one's listening to my old man video games.
I'll listen to them, and just
Fantastic.
call me up. Yeah.
Great. All right. You already know them all. You were there for half. John Wick Hex.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I have
Three
no
words
idea.
Yeah.
No, I'm not.
How?
I think it's an elaborate trick. I'll be honest. I think it's been a trick that's been played on me by someone, some enemy from the past has convinced me that I'm making a John Wick game.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, we can get you the license.
Yeah,
you have the
this
license.
is real. This is
Absolutely,
real. This is real. Yeah, it's been awesome. It's weird. It's been a weird. We've been doing over a year. and like unlike most licensed games, like actually had access to everyone. So like, I've been beaten up by stuntmen. I've been trained in like weapons.
Supposed to happen?
That's
When you make a licensed
I
game, you
was
get your ass
They just
very,
beat the shit out
very
of
rude
you.
to them. It turns out, I was incredibly
You reap what
offensive
you
to them.
sow.
I deserved it. I deserved it, and I went with it, But no, it's been great, and we've been previewing it, and people seem to like it. It's always that weird thing as a game dev when you put it in front of press for the first time. It's like, oh, it's a video game. Oh, great. Yeah, we didn't accidentally make something else. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But like, there's something about having like external voices who really don't need to pretend to like it.
Totally.
Being actually generous, which is nice. So it's been really good. Yeah, it's been a fun trip.
Was there any weird knock-on effect of Keanu Reeves showing up at E3? Was there like did you see like an extra, maybe like 2% of people hype?
I think maybe
or, like,
I don't think it did any harm. I think it feels like it's been the decade of Keanu Reeves.
I'm
right?
literally
Like,
wearing a Keanu shirt right
I was going to say,
I mean,
exactly. I mean, that's the influence he has, right?
He
He's
owns
here.
us.
Keanu's always with us,
And aside from wearing Keanu on your chest,
Yes.
you've been
I
drinking,
wear him in my chest too.
drinking and demoing a game.
It's been a good week.
Are you like behind closed doors? Have you been on the floor doing
We're
it?
close.
Or
So we've got a ton of support from Microsoft, which has been great. So via Game Pass, so we've been showing it on the floor.
Yes.
We've been on a bunch of different streams. The game is finally approaching completion, which is good because it became a much larger endeavor than we initially thought. Go figure, video games. We thought it would be out about a year ago. Here we are today. But it's really good. Like, we're super thrilled. And like you were just mentioning, like, just getting it into people's hands outside feels so good because, well, it feels good when they say
Well, it feels
something
good when it's good.
Yeah, it feels good when they're like,
I've been in the
that's
other
good feedback.
situation. That's not
As
so
have
good.
I.
Yeah.
We should talk about other licensed games together. But no, it's been amazing. So yeah, showing really well, coming out a little bit later this year. Janina, I think, is in the other room right now. I think she's on at 10 with you guys.
Yeah.
So
coming
yes,
through,
it's going well. And yeah, the game, I mean, it's just such a weird concept. It's one of these things where because Oxenfree did well enough that we were able to keep going, we just sort of doubled down on our own weird tendencies and said, yeah, a game about drinking your way out of hell is, of course, the next thing that we should do.
It's
It's
the only
obvious,
thing
really.
you can
Like,
do.
now
at
it
this
seems
point.
obvious,
Like, there's,
yeah.
there's, why
So
would
if
you
this
do
does
anything
well,
else?
it's just going to get even weirder from night school.
I mean, it's a slightly overpopulated genre, but like, I feel like it's gonna. I think it can sustain. I think it'll work.
First person drunkard, I don't know. Yeah.
You ever think about, maybe like attaching a license to that,
There's a
Well,
bar each
you know
way.
what?
games.
We've had people approach us, and I'm like, come on. Like, I
As
appreciate
in,
like spirits
drinks?
brands,
Really?
yeah, which
Yeah,
is
I was
cool.
gonna say,
Like,
like,
if
you
they
know,
want to sponsor a
license-
party, that's
yeah.
great. But I don't think we want like Bud Lime bar in the game or something
Yeah.
like that. It just doesn't feel like it would.
I guess it depends how
Be
you
a fit.
use it in the game, right?
That's true.
You could have some fun with
you
it.
drink
Be a
your way
weapon.
back into hell.
Yeah,
Bud Light
exactly.
Lime.
Yeah.
Red Bull and vodka takes you 2 more
Like
layers down.
an ethics, like a binary ethics system based on which things you're drinking.
Well, I mean, in the beginning, it took us forever to figure out the drinking. We sort of like thought of the log line too early. It's one of those things where you like the idea before the game. So we're like, yeah, drink your way out of hell. This is rad. What does that mean? And then in the beginning, there was like a piss meter, and like you could
Like all
black
good
out.
games.
Yeah, exactly. And then we had like a Dark Souls thing where if you blacked out, you'd like pass out somewhere else, and you'd have to walk your way back. And you're like, none of this is fun. This is just sort of like a alcoholic simulation. It's not cool. So let's just make the drinking fun. So we finally landed there.
Yeah, because how do you represent? I mean, most games seem to represent drinking. You look at like I think Red Dead,
Right.
probably one of the more
Screen
recent
blurs,
ones. Yeah, it's just like
stumble
okay,
around.
we're gonna just vignette this, blur this.
Pretty much
wave
it.
this
That's all we
around.
do too. No.
Boom, done. Yeah,
If it
ship
works.
It's all broken, yeah.
Yeah, where we landed was more like treating drinking. This is going to sound awful.
Did you
but
do a bunch of
treating
research,
a
like
weapon.
looking at drunk moments in other games,
Or
and,
in
like,
each
Did you
other
get
at the-
beaten up
Oh,
by
yeah,
drunk
yeah,
guys?
right, yeah.
Did you get beaten up by drunk guys?
No, that's why I want to hear about
That's a
this
really good
fight
process.
scene
No, that's really
for
helpful.
your
It's really,
It's
you
so
should get beaten
bizarre.
up by drunk guys. It'll help you kind of understand.
What we decided to do was just lean into the idea that like drinking can augment your personality, and so treating if in our game dialogue is an ability, then the drinking is like an RPG sort of.
So you're gaining
mechanic.
confidence or rage or whatever
Yeah,
kind
so
of
they-
different personality traits.
They sort of start with like you could be flirty, you could be aggressive, you could be whatever, but then they get more specific and weird, almost like Harry Potter potions, where it's like, okay, this drink will make me talk like a pirate because that's it, or this drink will make me talk like a bad vaudevillian comedian, or
awesome.
this shot might make me vomit my conscience up, and that is an actual character character that will run into the rafters, and now all my dialogue choices are fucked up till I can recover my conscience. So
That's such a good fit for your like dialogue systems and stuff.
That's
works
what
really
I felt
nicely.
right.
It's a really good idea.
And then we have.
That.
Thank you.
Yeah,
we have a lot of like activities in the game too that blend with that too. So there's beer pong, and there's doing shots and stacking them, and there's dance offs, and so the dialogue system kind of blends with all of that. And then the drinking will throw that off. Like in beer pong, your aiming will get all screwed up. So they kind of blur together.
It's like the Witcher toxicity meter or something.
It kind of
like
is.
Too many potions, you're gonna get messed up.
Yes.
But you know, the right number of potions
is just right, the sweet spot. The cool thing, like audio-wise, Scientific, his real name is Andy, which is less exciting sounding than Scientific.
Does he get annoyed at you call him Andy in public, or would you
Sort
prefer
of.
he stays aside?
I say it the same way I just said it every time. I'm like,
like
Scientific, but Andy, really. But he has been working on a lot of interesting sound design stuff where it's like, how do we make the music sound fuller at different times? How do we make it feel diegetic, like you're really in the bar, but when I go play beer pong, I want to layer in more percussion or whatever. So it's this mix between a score and not, and it's like all trying to emulate, I'm drunk, music sounds cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
I guess.
Like just in a code way.
Yeah, like thinking about those as like systems instead
Exactly.
of just like a thing that happens.
Yes.
Yeah. And so getting out there, pitching, but not having a lot to do with the show floor.
It was weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, how did it feel being able to just like get on that floor and just be like, all right, I can go.
Yeah, I could just walk around.
Yeah.
It would have felt better if there's more to see.
Sure.
It just felt like ghosts, really. Like I walked by the GameSpot booth, and it's just a big stage with strangers and the GameSpot logo. It's just gigantic compared to anything we ever had.
Yeah.
There's only one big 3 booth, and it's
Yeah.
Nintendo. Nintendo's like, oh, that's E3. I remember. Then you turn around, and you're like, who are these people?
The thing I keep saying, like there are people selling energy drinks on the floor.
Yep.
Like selling, like because the public, you know, it's like because they're trying to like make a buck here, which is always such a strange
Yes.
thing.
Yep.
I was given a Respawn drink today, but it's
Okay.
not from Respawn.
That sounds like.
Did you get this drink?
I've not been able to get on the show floor at all either. Yeah.
You didn't miss anything. Actually,
No.
well, you did miss one thing, because we talked about having 6-year-old kids.
Yes.
Gravedigger, the monster trucks on the floor.
No way,
Got
I
my
didn't
picture
see that.
taken with it.
Nice.
Yep.
That's
so now I'm
kinda
a hero
cool.
to my kids.
Yeah.
Yep. That's the win.
I was hoping that they would be rotating the truck out every day. It's like day 1's Gravedigger,
Yep.
day 2 is the Goldberg truck.
With special guests.
Right,
Herbie,
yeah.
They have a couple
Yeah.
more outside. So they have the zombie truck
Okay.
with the arms. It's not the Goldberg one with the arms. Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't have any of the ones that look like dogs.
Yeah, I know at some point they repainted all the wrestling trucks
They
to
did,
not
yep.
be wrestling trucks anymore. But if you look hard enough, you're
World,
like,
I don't know.
I don't know
That's
anything about it either.
beautiful, yeah.
And I'm from the Midwest, and I'm used to it. Blah, 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 you know, Sunday, come out, but I don't really know much about
I
it.
feel like there was just that window where
Yes.
Bigfoot was king.
Yes, I had a
It
remote
was, like,
control
it was the
Bigfoot.
Hulk Hogan of trucks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Truck Hogan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. And somehow Bigfoot is.
It's not the
gone.
Sasquatch. It's like a big blue truck.
It's a big
He was
blue
the whole
Hogan.
Hogan of trucks. I love it. No, I believe you. I completely believe
But with
you.
somewhat less racism,
Right.
which is nice.
Yeah.
So thank you,
Slightly less.
Bigfoot. And there was like Bigfoot 2 or something that was like
Yeah.
even like the gigantic
Sure.
tires,
And there's,
right?
there's barefoot.
Barefoot.
There's
With-
barefoot.
That was one that had the claws that came out, or was that just a toy? Like claws
I
coming
think
out
it
of the
might have
tires.
been-
I don't know
Yeah.
this.
It was just a
I will
weird.
buy
actually
this
do
on
that.
eBay.
There was a lot of monster truck lore, and
Yeah.
like I don't even know how I know
86
it.
to 88, because
Like I
it was
never
just
went
all
and saw
in
any
your
of
face.
this stuff
Never saw it
live.
Yep.
But it was just I don't know, like just you watch enough television.
It's wrestling with trucks. There's stories like Gravedigger's a hero. There's actually like 4 Gravediggers
So-
right now.
Was there an animated series, I feel like, now?
Is that a real thing? Okay, there was a monster truck cartoon.
Yeah.
That must be
Did
how
they
I know
talk,
this.
or did they have little
No, I
drivers?
yeah, I think there's a little driver.
Well, why what?
Like, what would the drivers
After
be? The
this, we'll
stars?
go over to the other room and we'll start streaming this.
All right, yeah.
All right.
After this, we're gonna get
There
on
was,
Wikipedia and
right?
get to
There
the
was an
bottom of this.
animated
Yeah,
truck
totally.
show, but
Yeah.
it was about the drivers. And they were just like, hi, I'm Steve Gutenberg. And like, I drive that truck.
Is that what he's
Why
doing
would it-
now?
Yeah, it's working out.
Speaking of
Great.
Steve Gutenberg, there is an interesting thread here if we would want to talk about licensed games, because all 3
Yeah.
of us have had various experience with licensed games. Some of us have scars, and
Oh, it
some of
gets
us have
real dark
success.
for some-
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's interesting.
What's
or we
your
could
What's your darkest
Yeah.
license?
I have a whole
scar?
spectrum from shit to diarrhea, and then a couple good ones. I would say the best was we had a great game with the Mr. Robot team that was very similar. Like
Yeah, I
we didn't
played
get,
it.
Yeah.
they didn't
Yeah.
fight us, but it was like a very that was a good
Yeah, to
collaborative
like call
experience.
up people and figure out how to like socially engineer them.
Yes.
Yeah, I played
And
it.
you're
It was
like,
rad.
thank you. Yeah, it was fun because it was all about just making people just do awful things. Like initially we're like, oh, let's make it about hacking, and they're like, that we don't want a hacking tube pipe mini game or whatever.
yeah.
Let's do it more about messing with people. So that's the best experience. The I don't know. God, there's a lot of worst. Well, let's see. So I was the designer on the Desperate Housewives PC game. See, just crickets.
It's
Great.
a big
Wow.
PC audience.
Which, by the
for
way,
that, right?
though, it was huge. No joke. It blew
Really?
up. Yeah, because it was during the
Was it on like
Sims
the
era.
casual portals and stuff?
Well,
like
we
Big Fish
designed it.
and
No,
things
it
and
was
stuff?
like you bought a disc. Like
Oh,
it was
really?
like a
Okay.
thing, which makes no sense
Floppy
to me that it
disk
blew up.
somehow?
No,
Is that- yeah. In my head,
CD.
that's like a-
20
or maybe
Yeah.
DVD. But like my pitch for that was like it's Shenmue and The Sims with sex and drugs, and they were like greenlit. And I'm like, really? Okay. So then that worked, and we had branching dialogue.
You found
and stuff.
sailors for a different reason.
You found,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was a weird one. God, a lot of bad Disney stuff. Night School was making a Stranger Things game that got canceled after Telltale went under, so
Yeah.
that kind of sucked. And then I was the producer on the 50 Cent game. That was a really
Blood in the
interesting.
Which one?
Sand?
Both of them. The really bad one, and then
Okay.
I left in the middle of the pretty good one.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know there was a really. I only knew there was one.
The first one was 50 Cent
Bulletproof. It was like
Yep.
a strategy game.
It was.
Which one had
Was
the?
the,
make a
was the portable
strategy game
version like a
license.
strategy
Okay,
game?
no. So that one I did not work on.
Okay.
But the camera was cool. It was a top-down shooter.
Yeah.
But it was all from a police helicopter. So
Okay.
it kind of actually looked pretty cool.
Which one had the ramps?
That was Blood on the Sand.
Okay, that was
Yeah.
a thing. That was a thing.
That was
for a
actually a
minute,
decent
yeah.
game. My fingerprints are not really on that, other than the basic idea. But the first one, total shit show, had to be done in 11 months. But I got to direct Dr. Dre, and I was like, that's cool. That's
pretty cool.
But it was pretty bad. Other than that.
Yeah, no, that it was like alarming in a way that there was a second 50 Cent game
Yes.
because of that other one. It's like, wow.
They were like, we've got to
It's
double
really-
down on this.
That's
This
what
is
it
working.
sold like 5 million units, the first one, and I'm
Yeah.
like, are you kidding me? On a disc for $50? Sorry,
I played some of it last year.
No, you
I put it back in. I was like, yeah, let's get back to 50
You
Cent. Blood on
really
the
did.
Sand.
I gotta finish this. Where does this?
Yeah.
Okay, so
How does it feel to reappraise it? Like, do you find deeper meaning?
If you like,
bad things.
okay, yeah, if you like, what if-
Animated monster truck.
animated
cartoon.
monster truck cartoon. No, if you like Gears of War, but wish it was like a little more fucked up.
Yeah.
In terms of just like these cover mechanics don't work very well.
Yes.
But then also, if you liked The Club, that shooter that Sega put
yeah,
out, that was all about weird scoring stuff.
Yes.
Because it's full of weird targets that just like 50 Cent, you're like, yes, I need to shoot this target, and then I got another point. That's your game.
Great. It's weird you say that because that's genuinely what I was looking to play.
Great.
So
Yeah,
that's
not
great.
even
No,
kidding.
great.
No
No,
one's
cool.
representing a game
Suddenly
like that here
John
at
Wick
E3.
has to
So,
take a
yeah.
turn, a hard
Right,
turn in
yes.
design.
Suddenly, it's like John Wick has to find this crystal skull.
It was a Crystal Skulls with like a
It was a
Damien
skull.
Hirst
Is
thing,
the
yeah.
diamond? Is the diamond encrusted? Yeah.
So the first
That was
game,
big for
the
him in
really
Sega.
bad one, was written by Terrence Winter, who was the creator of Boardwalk Empire and the exec producer of Sopranos.
Really?
So that was crazy. We'd be doing these recording sessions at like 3 in the morning with him and 50 underground at Vivendi Studios, and like. Just 50 comes in, he's got like 8 people that come in and check under the toilet stalls to make sure there's nobody there to kill him, and then we go record.
Well, we've
That
all
was
been
that
there.
game. We've
Yeah.
been there. Life.
Yeah.
Such is life.
Pretty much. And so you've been beaten up working on John Wick
Been
Hex.
beaten up.
Is that just
Well, actually, no,
your
it's-
experience with licensed games?
Exactly,
Yeah, what's your
right?
worst one?
What's my worst one? So this is the first one I've done as an indie. I did work on a few way back when I was junior designer. I worked on like Nickelodeon stuff. So I did. Honestly, actually, they were all good experience. Like I know it sounds like rubbish, but the one that was the hardest was. Do you remember Tack? It was about like a little kid.
Yes.
Tack and the Power of Juju.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yep.
So there were some good Tack and the Power of Juju games, and then Nickelodeon got the rights to it, so they made a TV show. And then someone had to make the not very good tie-in to that.
Based on that.
And your boy Mike, I showed up, but it was, we had 9 months to make it, and the pitch was, and I was not involved in the pitch, but I was on the team that had to make it. The pitch was Prince of Persia, Sands of Time meets God of War.
Jesus.
Finally.
do you know what's-
Very low bar.
Finally.
Do you know what? we did okay. Like, I played it the other day because it was on Wii, and I was playing it, and it's not good. But you can feel the pain of the team through every pixel. It's great. No, it was yeah. I made it was called Tak and the Guardians of Gross, and sorry, I forgot. Also Shadow of the Colossus, because you had to climb on these massive monsters. And it was like
Tetris.
Yeah.
It was that classic like producer who's never made a video game thing of like he picked the 3 games he saw in that issue of Game Informer and went, let's make all of that in 9 months with 12 guys in Leamington Spa in England. But it was my first game I ever worked on, and it was genuinely, I thought that's how games were made.
A lot of them are.
A lot of them are. And to be honest, I tell you as well, like as a guy starting out, that was genuinely such a valuable experience to kind of just work that like crazy kind of project. Because the other thing is on projects like that, I don't know how you guys feel, but there's so many opportunities to like punch way above your weight just in terms of responsibility, because no one cares.
Right.
There's no money. And it's just you in the room, so
That's
it's
it.
like
Let's go
I guess
crazy.
exactly. So you get weird amounts of like responsibility. I was like writing lines of stuff for it and stuff. It was great. I'd like with
just
no
get to spread your wings a little bit.
yeah and fly.
For tack.
Well, spread my wings and then kind of fall off of a 9-month Shadow of the Colossus clone. Yeah.
Well,
was
you know,
the
that
Shadow
probably
of the
still looks better on a
Colossus
resume at the end of the day. Than,
Because the bosses of the game, there were these 4 monsters, and they were kind of walking through the environment. And yes, someone had said like, let's make Shadow of the Colossus, and we had 9 months. So actually, what happened was a cutscene played of a big, brilliant, beautiful monster rampaging through the environment, and then it cut to gameplay, and you were on the back of it, and it was clearly just a static level of the back of that character.
yeah.
So it was not. They didn't quite get the magic of the middle bit, which is Shadow of the Colossus.
Right.
But like.
give it another 2 months. Would have had
If we'd had 2 more weeks, no. But yeah, you learned a lot. And then the best one, yes, of course, is John Wick Hex,
Yeah.
which has been a lot of fun and weird, but yeah, it's been cool. It's again being up and learning how to shoot guns on gun ranges, which for a Brit is terrifying.
Oh yeah.
But yeah.
Nice.
And then
Rich, yeah, you've
in my 6-year tour of mobile free-to-play, we did Star Trek, Game of Thrones, Walking Dead. All 3 were very positive experiences, and then the last unannounced game, which no one will ever play, was a really great experience up until that last part, where my lawyer wife will start texting me any minute telling me not to say anything.
Yeah.
What does it rhyme with?
It got canceled, and people lost their jobs, including me, and that's just not good. And anytime you're dealing with another group that you only have some insight into how they work, the things can change very quickly because they have a whole other thing going on their side, you have a whole thing going on your side, and it's difficult enough to get it to work when everything's going well, and when things aren't, it can fall apart pretty quickly.
it just seems like you talk to people that are working on Star Wars or Disney, some of the other stuff, just the approval, or Marvel, for example, just like the approval process of just like, hey, we decided to make this change. Oh wait, we have to run it by these people. Are you like sending things off and waiting a week to hear back from John Wick people?
Like no,
John Wick LLC.
John Wick LLC. It's a very dangerous building. No, like genuinely, that's what's been great with this one, because their whole process with Lionsgate has been to incorporate us in. So instead of like normally, you get like the brand Bible, it's like 200 pages. Yeah. You read it cover to cover, you send off every milestone, wait a month, then find out just before the next milestone that this has to change. But with these guys, what they've done is they literally said to us, you're flying to LA every month, you're going to meet with everyone. So like,
FaceTime's important.
But it's FaceTime, but it's also like being embedded not just with the execs, who are lovely and I love them all very dearly, but also like the filmmakers. So like sitting, working on the Fog of War system with Chad next to me, who's taking a break from cutting the 3rd movie and Chad's the director, and having him kind of like go, that's bullshit, Mike, that needs to work like having that level of integration. What that means is, which by the way doesn't happen in licensed games, you actually get to hang out with the director of the movie.
Definitely not.
But getting to do that and get that feedback, it means that honestly, it doesn't get to the stage where they're kind of refusing something you've done because you already talked to them about it like 3 weeks ago in the room. And also the other thing with Lionsgate, which is cool, has been that they, like, if they disagree with something, they respect and allow me to do it. We had a very early build of the game. It's a strategy game. We're making a John Wick strategy game, and it was a turn-based. We pitched them XCOM with one-player character, which really sucks as a game, right? Like that. But we didn't realize that until we spent a few months prototyping it, getting it made. As you know, it's in retrospect, it was a really dumb idea. But showed that to the executives at Lionsgate, and I already kind of had my doubts and wasn't feeling it, and knew we had to do something. But put it in front of the exec producer who's in charge of like the whole John Wick franchise, and he was like, "Why is John Wick waiting his turn? That's not. Have you seen the movie, Mike? Like, you know, that's not how it works." And I felt like an idiot. But bless him, he said, "But like, you know, you're the game designer. I don't get games. You know, you carry on."
Nice.
But that was enough that I went home, obviously, and immediately changed everything and fixed it.
Yeah.
Because, but that's nice. That kind of. So no, I've never received that email saying you've got to change it. Which is amazing. Like, and I mean, who knows? Maybe like tomorrow we'll see.
Right.
But, yeah.
Hey, by the way, all that stuff.
We
think John Wick should wait his turn.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're like,
of course.
but like John Wick, he should chill more. He should chill more.
We're gonna recut the movie. We found whenever we talk to fellow creators in any way, the conversation it just flows. Like people understand
They get it.
if they're going to make stuff, the challenges of it, etc. You trust in expertise. If it's not your field, etc. It's the people in the middle that sometimes are absolutely amazing and will change the world for you, and sometimes. Gum it up a little bit. And
I think there's a respect though that's growing. I think that's the other thing is we're hitting this stage where the people in those meeting rooms grew up playing video games,
True, yep,
and they
definitely.
like I've definitely felt that difference being not doing a licensed game for like 8-9 years to now. The people I'm talking to play video games. They know video games. They're you know, they grew up watching Giant Bomb and stuff like that, and genuinely like know what they're doing and want to let you make something good. Because that's the other thing is because they grew up playing games, they know licensed games suck, and they want to be the ones who fix that, you know. And it's really cool. I think that's spreading. I've talked to people who are doing stuff with other film companies, and it seems like that word is getting out and it's changing. So we'll see. I don't know. Good ideas can come from film though, and we should embrace them. Something like John Wick that's so awesome, we should make a game of that.
Yeah.
Do you still feel the wounds?
I mean,
I do. I burn all the time, like daily.
A little bit. What you said earlier is super accurate, though, about like the closer you can get to the other creators. Like everybody involved wants to make something good for the most part, right? Especially the creators of these IPs. It's just a matter of like how many people are sitting in the room that have to justify their existence, that have to raise their hand when there's 12 people in the room, right? So, yeah, like the reason why our Mr. Robot game well was because we were embedded with the creators too. Like I flew out there after a week of coming up with a pitch, and they kind of destroyed half the pitch, which was great because I'm like, this is way off. And then they're like, but you should do this, and we got embedded with a writer, and then one of their writers kind of worked with us regularly, and suddenly it felt like this organic piece of it, you know, and it felt really cool. Yeah,
right?
that's what really great. Yeah.
You need people who are going to tell you your idea sucks as quickly as possible.
Yes.
And are going to have like ideas for how to improve it.
Sam Esmail is one of those guys. He'll do it in like 5 seconds. He's like, I'm going to annihilate all of this. And I'm like, you're so fucking smart. Fine, you're right.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So you talk about brand books. What does the 50 Cent brand book look like? Is that just?
Oh my God.
I mean, it's not 50 Laws of Power, the book. I'm assuming, but
the early days of that were crazy. So like, I'd go to Jimmy Iovine's office, which is already crazy enough.
Right.
And I'm sitting in there, and I look over, and there's a piano, and then there's a picture of John Lennon with some guy, and I'm like, oh, it's John Lennon and Jimmy Iovine sitting at the piano, and then Jimmy Iovine comes in from some secret door that you're like, what is going on here? And then he's like,
I've been watching you this whole
yelling
time.
at somebody, and then you sit down, and at that time, they were like, we don't know what we want to do. They're like, we know this guy's gonna be fucking huge. That's all it was over and over, and I'm like, I think I concur. Like, this is before the first album came out.
Yeah.
And then I had to just go sit down and like talk 50 into this weird game. And that game, like the idea for that game, which we didn't really fulfill, was a very fluid, sort of like, remember the chase sequence in 7 where they're moving in and out of like hallways and into rooms? Like the whole goal that I wanted with that game was to have this like fluid combat system, and even if it was a very linear experience. It felt like you were moving from interiors to exteriors and doing these kind of crazy things. So I'm on the PIMP video set, pitching these guys, and this was, I'm sorry, I'll make this as fast as possible. Like, in the middle of this pitch, Jimmy Iovine gets on the phone with the police chief of LA, and it's the night of the BET Awards, and he's like, how many of you in here are felons? And I'm not kidding. How many of you in here are felons, right? And like 2/3 of the room raise his hands, all G Unit is there, right? All this.
Yeah.
And they're like, he's like, yeah, okay, well, look, they gotta wear the vest. And like, it turns out, it's like, you can't wear Kevlar if you are a felon. And they're like, our guys are not coming to the BET Awards unless they have Kevlar vests on. And and then another guy in the room is like, we keep living this fucking lifestyle, man. And I'm like, I'm in the middle of trying to pitch this dumb video game. So there was no Bible. It was just a lot of those moments.
I imagine that kind of builds your internal Bible.
Yes. You're like, okay, I'm gonna do that.
You learn the lesson in that room, yeah.
Definitely no brand Bible.
Yeah. So then the early days, I'm sorry, I'm so fascinated. Like Blood on the Sand, but I know you weren't there for the whole thing. But
only at the beginning of that one.
The early days of Blood on the Sand.
Yes.
Was it like, okay, let's re-up, let's get back out there?
Well, at first it was like, we got the game done, thank God, breath of relief, and then we're like moving on to something else, and then the game blew up, like it did really well. And we're like, oh wow. Okay, what's the craziest concept we can come up with? And legitimately it was that. It was Andre Emerson and I sitting in his office going like, I don't know, maybe, let's say he goes over and does a concert. You know, it's the Iraq War. He'll do a concert. Okay, that's great. And we're kind of just joking as we're coming up with it. And we're like,
that came across. That game is beloved because that comes across.
It's a ridiculous
concept. It was very intentionally ridiculous.
It's the right way to do it, yeah.
Because, I mean, 50's 50. Like, what do you want? You don't want to...
I want a curse button. I want to be able to make Tony Yayo say a bunch of really dumb shit.
Yes.
And then they hit that ramp and, you know, they drive for a while and then there's the skull. Yeah, that's... Like, that game... I'm not going to sit here and say from a gameplay perspective, it's like great. It's all right. But everything around it is so fucking ridiculous. And also at times, it looks like a fake video game you would see on a TV show.
Right. No, that's pretty intentional too.
And so there's that aspect of just like you see 50 Cent taking cover behind a door and you're just looking at it going like, okay, man. All right. It's even that introductory cutscene where he gets off stage. All right, he's at the concert, gets off stage, wearing a fucking full vest and a shotgun on his back, like he was out on stage with a fucking
Everybody's in on the joke, like everybody that worked on it. So that's what it slightly bummed me out that people, when they were playing that one,
they thought
like,
they just
they're missing the point? Like, no, that was the point.
Okay, you say everyone was
everyone
in on
working
the joke.
on it.
Yes. Okay,
all right. Yes,
that's the thing, though.
It's like the Starship Troopers of people shit on it, but everybody was in on it.
Yeah.
You know.
So I occasionally, it's been a while, but I have done a few spots on satellite radio on Shade 45.
Yes. Okay.
And I think it was like the first or second time I was on. Literally just
really.
Yeah.
This is great.
I just broke into a tirade about 50 Cent Blood on the Sand, and I'm like. In retrospect, it was Eminem's radio station. Like me talking about how it's hilarious that Tony Yayo says all this dumb shit throughout the game. Maybe he's not going to go over super well with the people that run that thing.
Yes.
But it was worth it. If they had never asked me to come back, I would have been, well, at least I talked about Blood on the Sand on Eminem's fucking radio station.
How great is that? Put that on your tombstone.
Exactly. Just line it up. That game is like, I think there are a lot of games like that are just like fascinating, not always for the right reasons, but for reasons.
That's like that window of time where like the AA licensed game, like, and they were all 6s and 7s out of 10, so be it. But I kind of miss that. Like that's sort of gone. Like I worked on the Grinch game. Okay, I just skipped right over that one.
The Jim Carrey movie.
Dreamcast, sister. The Dreamcast game. Like. But it was cool. It was fun. I don't know. We're like, let's rip off Spyro and put the Super Mario 2 butt stomp in there. And
perfect. Done.
Great.
That was always how those games were designed, right? Like just
like what are three decent other things that we can't get? I can't get up to.
The marketing departments know better now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're not
Yeah.
going to try, like, they're going to put all their effort into, like, getting a skin in Fortnite or something. Like,
Right.
it's rare we're going to see something awesome like Hex. And
Or, for a while, it was
I mean,
just
they
like
also did a skin in Fortnite.
Oh,
So,
you did?
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, it's like for a while there, they were just going to mobile for that stuff.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
became like, okay, well, clearly no one's going to pay $60 for any of this stuff, but we can do a free-to-play mobile game. We can find a way to extract dollars out
Yeah.
of people because they love a TV show.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, for our games on my prior company, we pursued all those because another aspect of free-to-play mobile, it's really hard to get attention.
Right.
So a great way to get attention is to use an existing IP.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So the game that I was the director on that no one will ever play, which could have been cool, and I burn about it most days.
Yeah.
That was more of a collaboration, like you're describing. Yeah.
I got a heavy bag when I was in that situation.
Is that what I
of just
should
like
do?
when there was a thing that was just
Yeah.
like, I'm so pissed about this
Okay.
company, for example. Yeah. It was literally just like there was and for a while I was punching it, and then I eventually was like, it's just not doing it. And so I got a wiffle ball bat. And I would just be out in my garage just going like for a while, and over time that faded.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
4 years, 5 years.
Yeah.
For some reason, it
8 or
always, it
9.
always happens on my commute. It's only on the commute, which is the worst time to get angry. So
yeah.
it's a good Zen practice. Like I'm getting really good at dealing with it, and it's ridiculous because it was like a year ago. I should be over this, but
Yeah, you've moved on. You're doing cool new stuff.
Awesome,
It's like,
cool
wow,
new stuff.
yeah.
It was more like how personal it felt because I was the director. Like I was the one who had the idea for the game. I was instead of I'd just been a producer and helping shepherd other ideas
Yeah.
through. And this was mine, and it was a good one. And
Especially when it's going well, right?
Yeah.
It's like
every
most
milestone
games
hit.
don't go well just by their very nature. So when it's going well and the rug gets pulled out,
yeah,
it's
good stuff.
awful.
Thank you for the sympathy. I appreciate it. But on to cooler things, indeed.
Well, we'll all have to learn that Zen thing. I'm going to work on that Zen thing right now during this break. Thank you so much for coming through.
It's been a great chat.
Thank you. for
Yeah,
having us.
it's been awesome talking to you all.
It has. I've got a present actually. 1 second. Oh, here we go. I got merch.
Tell me you're going to propose.
Oh,
He asked me.
Thank you.
They're really nice.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
That means
I'll
you
give
can
you my
kill
equal
someone
badge.
and get rid of the body. It's,
exactly. Or
it's
you
good.
could get a drink at the bar.
Or you can get a drink at the bar. It's a
Mine would
perfectly
work, yeah.
functioning economy, all right?
This is awesome.
Well,
Thank you very
outstanding.
much.
Thanks so much for coming through. Thank you very much for the coin. It's going to
welcome.
come in handy later. We're going to take a break. We'll be back with some more guests. So everyone, stay tuned.